was the last time Oprah actually spent time hanging out with a working class person in America? She's on her Montecito estate with one of the most beautiful mansions known to man. And that is why she did not follow up with Kamala Harris in response to that stupid gun question with, well, you're on camera saying that you favor mandatory gun buybacks. So how would that work? The Oprah enthusiasm worked when it was genuine.
Shortly after the Oscars, a 3.9 magnitude earthquake rocked LA. The tremors were so powerful, Oprah's ass is still moving. Why would you laugh at that? That's fat shamers.
Remember when Oprah was untouchable? The queen of couch confessions, book clubs, and giving away cars like candy at a parade. That Oprah the benevolent billionaire in soft lighting. Well, Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly just blitzed that legacy. With the precision of a SWAT team and the flair of a roast battle, Gutfeld swung in with sarcasm sharp enough to slice a vision board in half, while Kelly delivered an ice-cold dismantling that made Oprah look less like a media mogul and more like a misguided meme wrapped in designer threads. The verdict: the empire has cracks deep, glittering fissures.
She first hit the scene in like the 1980s, and she was fresh out of Chicago. She was in Chicago for the launch of her national talk show. She was something electric and interesting and authentic, you know? I miss fat Oprah. She was just genuine. Now this thin Ozempic Oprah has lost, along with the pounds, her heart, her sense of authenticity. And what we're getting these days is this cleansed elite billionaire version who wants to scrub the record of facts.
It's true, the Harris interview did feel like a very special episode of Oprah, but instead of everybody getting a new car, everybody got an aneurysm.
Let's not forget, Oprah once told a room full of billionaires that being rich is hard, and nobody laughed her off stage. That alone should have earned her a Lifetime Achievement Award in accidental comedy. But here she is, again humility from a diamond-encrusted chalice, handing out inspiration like it's holy scripture, while selling self-help fantasies dipped in gold leaf. And now, she's managed to irritate both Gutfeld and Kelly into a sarcastic tag team that hit harder than any branding consultant ever could.
We had a week of women getting up there and trying to get us to feel sorry for them. To Oprah, literally one of the richest people, forget women, one of the richest people on earth, and talk about, in part, the misogyny and racism she's faced from the country that made her a $2.6 billion.
Because when Oprah speaks, her fans claim the heavens part, birds weep, and stock markets twitch. But lately, her sermons on spiritual growth sound more like parodies of themselves. Between pushing the American dream with a $900 moisturizer and launching wellness programs that cost more than a semester at Yale, she's become a walking contradiction draped in designer enlightenment.
5 words, Oprah's list of favorite things. So Oprah released her annual list of favorite things, and as usual, there are lots of expensive stuff. $1,000 pizza oven, $590 drip coffee maker, $80 of luxury salt. Sadly, no proposal from Stedman.
Enter Megyn Kelly, armed with her patented "I'm over this glare" and the surgical dissection skills of a media veteran. She skewered the Empress of Empathy with enough precision to freeze Botox mid-injection. Oprah, once the patron saint of giveaway culture, now hands out existential crises wrapped in influencer branding.
Kat, do you think she went over this first to make sure it wasn't too extravagant?
You're missing the best one.
What?
Okay, it is a little journal, and it's called "I'm Dead, Now What?" Important information on my belongings, business affairs, and wishes. Hand this to someone at Christmas, I dare you.
Gutfeld didn't bother with a scalpel. He went full verbal sledgehammer. Imagine a WWE promo with punchlines aimed directly at Oprah's $400 gratitude journal. The woman who built an empire on crying in comfortable chairs now wants to tell middle-class families how to be grateful for their struggles. The irony wasn't just rich, it was tax bracket exclusive.
But Oprah's an icon who, unlike traditional politicians, could match a wild card like Donald Trump. And if she won, she could give everyone a free car. And how different is that really from most Democrats?
It's borderline adorable how Oprah still thinks people believe she's one of them. This is a woman who curated a televised church of self-help for decades, collecting pain like some people collect vinyl. She repackaged suffering with a warm voice and sold it back with a side of herbal tea. Watching her preach authenticity now is like watching a Kardashian explain agriculture. The disconnect is astronomical.
Her schoolgirl affectations and body movements. Like, okay, ready? Here it is. Like, okay. She raises herself off her chair. Like, I'm just really excited. I'm really excited about this. Okay.
You're so right.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something you haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to blow your mind.
Okay.
Let's chat.
Right, like that.
Right.
Gutfeld had a field day with her humanitarian documentary on Oprah, flanked by a camera crew and bathed in blockbuster lighting, standing in front of a homeless shelter in a $5,000 coat, discussing despair like it's a design trend. Megyn Kelly didn't blink as she called it what it was: emotional exploitation dressed up as activism. It wasn't raising awareness, it was aestheticized grief, and Oprah was the star.
So we have got to talk about the failure of the celebrity. Oprah Winfrey, you have no power. You do not have any control over this electorate. Neither do you, J-Lo. Let's take a look at Oprah's final closing message on the campaign trail.
We don't get to sit this one out. If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. We are voting to save ourselves from this precipice of danger.
Even her philanthropy comes with a watermark. She doesn't give she brands. Every act of goodwill is wrapped in a plug, a campaign, or a product launch. Gutfeld compared it to flying first class to a disaster zone, then selling the audiobook of the experience. And honestly, that's about right. Her brand of empathy has all the sincerity of a Vegas illusionist, masterful, calculated, and deeply profitable.
Yeah.
I looked at this list, and you know what wasn't on there? Anything about Maui, right? At one point in time, she and The Rock made that video to try to help out everybody who was hurt by the fire. And then that was just quickly discarded. She's like, okay, that didn't work. Who wants slippers? You want slippers. You get a pair of slippers. You're all getting slippers.
Do you think she much?
Kelly went for the receipts, next stripping into Oprah's contradictions like it was Black Friday. She pointed out the absurdity of preaching balance while managing more businesses than most hedge funds, or selling self-love through products that suggest you're not enough until you buy more. Oprah's spiritual brand is a luxury hustle in silk pajamas. Gutfeld chimed in with his own jab that Oprah's book club feels like mandatory reading for emotional exhaustion. Memoirs of trauma, philosophical spiral, journals every pick, a gauntlet of sadness, sold as self-discovery. Her political stances, flimsy, vague, and just committed enough to snag applause without consequence. Megyn Kelly nailed it. Oprah's activism has the depth of a Hallmark card, hopeful, palatable, and ultimately hollow.
I used to love Oprah, like most of us who grew up when we did. And only now did I realize I've been getting spoon-fed propaganda from this woman for years. I always took her little setup packages as gospel. You know, before I was a reporter, I never even thought to question whether Oprah might be intentionally misleading me. Then last night, the dawn came and I was like, oh my God, she is not a reporter. She's a propagandist. She's trying to shove messaging down my throat of whatever she believes, not what's...
And then, of course, there's Oprah's obsession with reinvention. She cycles through identities like software updates, weight loss warrior, spiritual oracle, racial unity moderator. Gutfeld joked her whole career is a reboot of herself. Each season sponsored and soul-searched. She markets growth, but it's all curated. Her version of struggle, a private chef calling in sick. Kelly peeled back that final illusion. Oprah's pain is platformed, edited, and polished with piano music, for prime time.
Tyrus, so you got salt, you got cheese, you got pizza.
I'm going to stop you there.
Yes.
I treat this like the list I get from my kids. They send me emails because they know when I laugh in their face, it hurts. Anyone who wants a $1,000 pizza oven, you're going to get what Kat picked out. Like, that's the greatest gift you can give somebody because you can't return it. Because returning it, you think you're immortal? You think you're better than us? Like, get your affairs in order. That's the great, you stole the show. They wanted me to talk about a dog towel. Towel's a towel. Great job. That's the best gift ever. And Oprah has never read this, just like I don't read the list for my kids send me.
Yet she still positions herself as the voice of the people, a billionaire playing the underdog. That's like Jeff Bezos claiming he relates to warehouse workers because he once read Nomadland. Gutfeld summed it up. Oprah isn't empowering anyone. She's selling empowerment, packaged in pastels and priced for profit. She's mastered the art of sounding profound while saying absolutely nothing.
Oprah didn't help by sort of saying it's cheating. What do you mean it's cheating? It's a drug that helps people control their appetite. How is that cheating? So she was probably on the wrong side of things when she was saying that. And now I think she was sort of forced to admit, because as you say, it's obvious. Somebody like Oprah who's constantly up and down with the weight and hasn't been on the skinnier side for a long time. And then suddenly, after this miracle drug comes out, like, we know. But she's still a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. And I guess she's going to still tell us that the point system is really what's behind the weight.
So the next time Oprah urges you to embrace the journey, remember, her journey includes a fleet of assistants, on-call therapists, and a personal filter that could resurrect Cleopatra. Meanwhile, most folks are just trying to survive the commute and cover rent. Sure, there's probably a $29.99 book in her club for that, but it won't pay your bills. At this point, Oprah's inspiration has become performance art. She floats through struggle, trailed by a camera crew, and missed. Her empathy is pre-scheduled, her compassion lit from stage left. Kelly's takedown wasn't just criticism, was an unmasking. And Gutfeld bulldozed the brand veneer with enough punchlines to make her lighting team wince. The contrast is jarring. A billionaire selling resilience from a chaise lounge while most people battle potholes and rising costs. Yet we're told to aspire to her journey. It's not motivation, it's melodrama in lubricants. And Oprah still thinks she's relatable, like her next door neighbor isn't a hedge fund. Welcome to the gospel according to wealth.